Welcome, everyone, to the L7C Podcast Wrestling Edition. Today, we're going to be talking some good old wrestling with our wrestling expert, Jacob Mason. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm fantastic, buddy. How you doing today?
Well, thank you. And I'm going to get even better because we're about to talk some wrestling. We're going to be hitting a lot of different topics. We're going to be talking about what's been going on with AEW, because these past couple episodes were focused on the Royal Rumble, and rightfully so. But, you know, the L7C, we cover all types of wrestling. So we're going to cover some AEW. Then we'll get back to what's going on with WWE. Go over Vengeance that just took place and preview a little bit the Elimination Chamber. But let's start with AEW. Let's talk about the Forbidden Door being opened. First off, for the listeners, Jacob, what is the Forbidden Door?
The Forbidden Door is cross-promotion, essentially. That's the easiest way to put it. The door, I would say, has been opened. I think it's been damn near completely blown up off its hinges. We have had an absolutely crazy couple weeks here with AEW. You know, how we first started with Impact and Kenny going to Impact, and Impact now coming to AEW, and we had all that. And now Kenta enters the chat room, and here we go. New Japan is now part of this cross promotion, and it is freaking awesome. And it's only just begun.
Yeah, it really has. We got one of the best wrestlers in the past generation. Okada's going to be coming at some point. Don't know when he's going to be showing up, but he's coming. So that means we could get Kenny Omega versus Okada, or Omega versus Kota. This is wild, man, because if you would have told me this even just 3 years ago, when you and I are just messaging back and forth about different wrestling promotions, that this door was not only going to get open, but just bulldozed, and we have AEW and Impact. I basically almost see them as the same show now, because they're working together and their champs are going through, and now you got New Japan come in there. It's wild, man.
Oh, it is absolutely insane. I mean, the fact when Kenta showed up and attacked Jon Moxley, because for those who do not know, we talked about it before, Jon Moxley is the United States champion for New Japan. Kenta is the number one contender and has the right to challenge for the title. Kenta came over, GTS Moxley, and it's just been crazy. I mean, nobody's seen it coming. Of course, we expected Jon Moxley to be in New Japan because he is the champion, but nobody expected him to come or Kenta to come over to AEW, and not just for 1 week, not just for one show. No, he was there 2 weeks in a row, which is just insane.
Now, and this is crazy too. Like you said, he's been here 2 weeks in a row, and this is during COVID era. So can you only imagine, once we finally beat COVID once and for all, what that's going to really look like? That we don't have travel restrictions and all of that?
It's going to be absolutely insane. I mean, there's even like low-key just like promotional stuff going on right now. I mean, if you take Tama Tonga, one half of the Guerrillas of Destiny, he's just constantly talking shit, which is one of the reasons I'm a huge fan of him. I haven't seen, but he was supposed to have a big thing on Twitch at 7:00. I've yet to see what the hell he even talked about. But I mean, he's even going after Kenny Omega, and he's talking about Festus and Little Festus, or as we call them, the Good Brothers. So, they're going to show up at some point, and then Jay White's going to show up, and Okada is going to show up, and you're going to see our AEW guys go over to New Japan and Impact. I mean, you do have Juice Robinson and Finn. I cannot think of his name. I know that they're a tag team. They're Finn Juice. They're going to Impact now. They're announced that at the pay-per-view Impact just had. So, man, I mean, just it's nuts. And then throughout all of this, Where
I
the
was
hell is
actually
Ring of
just about
Honor?
to bring that up because Ring of Honor is typically the U.S. partner to New Japan. So where are they fitting in all this? Are they just waiting to really just break everything and Ring of Honor just randomly shows up on AEW? Like, are they just waiting, or is there still some contract stuff going on with them?
So the only thing I know about Ring of Honor right now and what they're doing is they're treating their promotion right now just like basically like the NHL treated their bubble during the Stanley Cup, where you come in, you get tested, multiple times a day. There's curfews, you can't be out past certain curfews or whatnot. It's basically at the hotel that they have to the tapings, back to the hotel to the tapings, and you're just going back and forth until you have all your tapings done. So I think they're actually just probably playing it safe right now, because I just cannot imagine New Japan and doing work with other companies and not having Ring of Honor somehow involved in this. And then we also have, nobody really talks about them that much, NWA. Are they part of this cross-promotional work too? We've had the NWA women's title get defended on AEW. So when are we going to see Nick Aldis show up to AEW?
That's a very good point on the NWA. They haven't talked about them either. They even blanked on my mind because I was more thinking about where the hell is Ring of Honor in all of this. And I know a couple months ago we talked about when AEW announced the video game. Now, I'm going to bring this up again with this door opening. Is this video game about to have every promotion in it except WWE, obviously? Is this where I'm
one can wish.
If they're all getting in bed with each other, and obviously we've never had a New Japan video game or Impact Wrestling, and AEW is taking the forefront making a game, there can be a lot of money involved with everybody.
Oh God, yeah. Even if they ended up doing a deal where, hey, the base game is your AEW people, and then you did a New Japan DLC, and you did a Impact DLC, and you did a Ring of Honor DLC and an NWA DLC. There's a ton of money to be making. You're a video game player, you're a wrestling fan. As much as I hate DLC, a lot of times I'm gonna truck some money out that way to play, Kenny Omega and Okada in the same video game. Yeah, that's one
where you buy the season pass as soon as you buy the game, just because things will be coming out. I'm even thinking of the possibilities of where the next AEW big pay-per-view down the road, maybe when COVID slows down some more, having that at the Tokyo Dome. Like, I'm really thinking of all these different possibilities. Could you imagine, Cody versus whoever in the Tokyo Dome? And it's going to be wild, man.
Yeah, if you remember the G1 Supercard when Ring of Honor in New Japan did the big show at Madison Square Garden, they can just put out another Supercard and just have 4 different promotions. It could rival, if not, it could really put up a challenge for WrestleMania for top show and legitimate top show, because that's not an arena selling show. That's a stadium selling show. In the right time with the right promotion.
Involved in wrestling outside of WWE, yes, that could rival WrestleMania, if not surpass. Because even with WWE, I don't want to be mean, but smart wrestling fans know that there are some of the best wrestlers on planet Earth in WWE, like an AJ Styles, things like that. But what WWE tells you, they constantly tell you they have the best wrestlers in the world. They have some. They definitely do not have all. Now, all the other promotions have some of the best wrestlers on the planet. So if you're having dream matches like that at Madison Square Garden, things of that nature, with COVID, especially, I'm just really thinking when COVID is out of the equation, you're going to have so many people from Japan flying in to watch. You're going to have the diehard internet wrestling community going there to watch. It's going to be packed, and it's going to be wild when that time comes.
Oh yeah. And then what's also crazy is, I I'll just say I don't think we'll ever see it. But I mean, they're talking about it. You have Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes going out right now saying, hey, the door's open for WWE if they want to do business. Like, they're saying, let's do it. They don't care. Could we see that one day, you think?
It's crazy because a couple months ago, I would think this would never be possible, what we're talking about, but here we are. And shoot, a couple months ago, I would think Lana being on a winning streak would be impossible, but here we are again. I just think that, always got to throw in the Lana plug. It's either going to probably be more later, but I just think that Cody, especially Cody, and then they get it. It's about making money for all the wrestlers. Vince is about making money for him and sure his wrestlers, but it has to be on his terms. We talked about this, I think, a couple podcasts ago when we were making dream matches. If everyone was in bed together doing this, the problem is, especially if you throw in a personality like Vince, no matter how crazy and loony he is, he's still revered in the wrestling world. Who gets to say in the final book? Like that, those are the type of things that I think would really stop them from working together. Because Vince is always going to want his guys to go over because he has the biggest promotion, but that's not good for the Carter business.
You just got to learn to play fair, I guess. I mean, that's like, hey, you know what? Of course, Vince is going to be like Roman Reigns. Whoever he's going to face has to go over.
Those two, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to see your mid-carders yell, hey, you can beat my United States champion. You can beat my Intercontinental champion. You can beat one of my tag champions, but, you're not beating the big dog and the queen.
And
that's just not happening.
Have to lose to make it feel Omega legit. That's the problem. I don't see him letting either of them lose too. And that's also something where, God forbid, Vince would try and bring in some legends to work because it's huge and try and do some prop things. And AEW and everyone else, well, now we just want to do some wrestling. And then the people who left WWE for AEW and the other things, they're like, oh, we got to work with Vince again. So I don't think it's going to happen with WWE. I could see it, though, if Vince really let Triple H do whatever he wanted. I could see NXT doing it. I could see NXT being the test pilot for it. And then if NXT does really, like, if it goes big, then Vince, maybe I should do the Raw and SmackDown. But I could see NXT doing it. They'd be the closest doing it.
Yeah. I can see that.
Also,
I can see that.
Triple H. I mean, we all say it, man. This dude, from his wrestling and changing when he's becoming an executive, he always finds a way to sign top-notch people. Like, I mean, he brought Nakamura from Japan here, and like Finn Balor, Kevin, like all AJ Styles. Like, he has a relationship with that area. It's just, again, he's not the boss of the company. Not well. Again,
not yet.
When that day comes, I don't know what's in Vince's will. Like, if it goes to Shane, I don't know what the shareholders want to do. But man, yeah, NXT would be my closest bet to if it ever happened. But WWE, no. Even though there's so much money on the table, you want to talk about making WrestleMania even super big? If you have other promotions at WrestleMania, woo! Those network subscriptions, well, I guess by then, those Peacock subscriptions would skyrocket.
Right. And, something else, that to explain just how big the Forbidden Door being, blown up, opened, whatever else. Shaq was on AEW, and that was a minor note of whatever. Nobody gives a shit. Did you see Bullet Club is now on AEW? Like, nobody cared about the Shaq thing. Nobody cared about Cody versus Shaq. That's whatever. People are like, oh my God, cross promotion. Let's go. It's crazy. I mean, this is the wildest time to be a wrestling fan right now.
And just talking about those two,
hands down.
We were remiss to say that we need to sound like the L7C called it. We were right. We were right about Peacock. We said Thursdays as soon as they announced they're coming to the U.S. What day are they going to be on? Thursdays, 5 o'clock. New Japan. I'm
You
sorry.
mean New Japan?
We called it once again.
Yeah. So they're going to be on Roku television, which is cool by me because I got a bunch of Rokus in the house, so that's cool. 5 o'clock. That's a weird time slot. That's not a prime spot. I mean, you figure most people are just getting off work at 5, or a lot of people. But it's going to be. Is it going? Or I don't know for sure. Yeah, I'd have to imagine it would be on demand.
Yeah, it has to be on demand. I don't know when this. I forget when this starts because I need to check. But I feel like it has to be on demand because right at 5 o'clock is literally when people are clocking out and driving home, or at this time you're logging off your computer and going to TV, however your situation is with COVID in the world. But it has to be on demand too. And if it's on demand where you could just chill in on a Saturday at like 2 o'clock, like, oh, I didn't watch this week of New Japan. Let me just turn that on real quick and catch up. That would be perfect. I only think they're doing an hour.
Yeah. It's just going to be for an hour. And I think this is kind of like the whole, yes. Roku's huge in Asia. So I think this is kind of Roku going like, hey, we know New Japan's, it's a massive product over in Asia. And them going, well, let's test the waters in America. Let's throw them on this 5 o'clock spot and see how many people are tuning into this. And depending on that, how that goes, I imagine that can get bumped up, just like everything else. Like, hey, this is going really well, let's move you to a primetime spot
the perfect
and whatnot.
Day, we talked about, we're like, Thursday is literally the only option. If they tried anything else, I'm like, but Thursday was the best option for them. So, hopefully I need to catch them when they finally get on. I have a Roku TV, so I'm happy about that. They'll be able to watch that. And who doesn't want to be able to watch more New Japan Pro Wrestling at their own time instead of having to wake up super early or stay up super late to catch their stuff, depending on where you're at in the world compared to Japan. So that's really good, man. But we will switch it back to some WWE because just past Valentine's Day, NXT Vengeance Day, it happened. There were 5 matches. The Dusty Road Classic, championships for the men and women. All the titles were on the line. And we're just going to talk about the major stuff. Hey, Jacob, did you like this card? Did you like the pay-per-view? How'd you feel about it?
The card, the build-up, I just thought was like, it's okay. Like, I didn't feel like it was a huge build-up. I felt like this was even a pay-per-view you didn't even have to completely watch. Because to me, I think it's just like, it is what it is type deal. It didn't have me fully intrigued, but it was a good card. It was solid. Like, I'm not complaining about the wrestling. It's NXT. It's always good wrestling for the most part. But your thoughts, for the build-up and all that.
It was okay. It wasn't like super big build-up. I was just excited that it was a takeover. I was like, when I shared with you, I was like, looks like we're having takeover on Valentine's Day and they're calling it Vengeance. I was like, all right. I think that obviously the main event, Finn Balor and Pete Dunne, that was the match I was definitely looking forward to the most, and I felt like that match delivered. And with Finn Balor, the way he's acting, that he's been acting since going to NXT, the way he carries himself as champion, the way he does his promos, all of that. This is a guy who could be the face of wrestling of WWE. That's my opinion. Like, the way he's acting now and his promos, like, this is the Finn where they strapped the rocket onto him and he won the first Universal title, but unfortunately he got hurt. He never recovered from that. And now in NXT, reinventing himself, he's on fire, man, and he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. You know where I think, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but where I think WWE dropped the biggest ball with this pay-per-view was the fact they did not call this, instead of calling this Vengeance Day, it should have been St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
It really was.
I mean, I don't know if they lost a trademark to that or what's going on, but man, I think they dropped the ball on that. But
Yeah, and then the other
that's nor here
matches,
nor there.
I think the beginning match, the women's Dusty thing, I was like, it's all right. I felt like Dakota Kai finally getting like a big major win in Raquel, because I thought Raquel was going to be champion individually, but she's not. But them finally doing that is cool. So then Raquel and Dakota could go against Shayna and Nia whenever they want, and then MSK winning, that was all right too. And then honestly, also again, Nia, man, we gotta give a shout out to him, Johnny Takeover. That man is built for takeovers.
Yes, he
He's one of
is.
those wrestlers where when the lights are brightest, he really flips that switch, and he's so different and so good. I'm just amazed every takeover because he really puts on a show. And that match, for match wise, that was probably my favorite match. But the Finn and Pete Dunne,
I agree.
We'll talk about that a little bit after this. That was just favorite moments. It was a really good match, but it had moments that were more important than the match. But Johnny's match, favorite match in the card, easily. There were so many times I thought he was going to tap out Yoshida and all of that. It was a great match.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, what do you think of like the Io Shirai title match?
Well, for me with triple threats, if I already eliminate one person, I don't think they're ever going to win. That hurts me. Like I knew Toni Storm was not going to win this match. Just something in my heart told me Toni ain't losing. So Toni is losing. So she's out. So like, why didn't we just make this a one-on-one between those two? But it was all right. Io winning, I'm like, okay. I'm starting to really think like, who is going to take this title off of her? But if she is the one who took the title off Charlotte, then she does need to stay champ for a little bit. Also, felt bad for the table. That was bad.
You're right.
Real bad.
That table spot. Poor Toni Storm.
I know you were not a fan of the first match of the night.
No, the women's Dusty Classic women's tag match. The timing was just so bad. I'm saying this like, trust me, I'm a way out of shape guy. Like, yeah, I'm like the fat guy eating Cheetos, watching the Olympics, going like losers. Like, no, like you're definitely way better than I could ever be. But like the timing was just so off. Like, I don't know how many times like you would see someone go to do something and they would like literally just stop 1 second, 2 second, then go do their thing. And that was just a constant throughout the match. And it seemed to be mainly with Dakota Kai and Shotzi Blackheart.
Chemistry at all. I think you're.
No. Believe it or not, I expected better out of Dakota Kai. Of course, Ember Moon, she's Ember Moon. I had really no complaints about her, or none that I can remember. And Raquel, I thought she did all right. Nothing, her choke slam that she does is freaking great. I'll give her that. But that whole match, I was like, this is off. Oh, that's off. And there's just one too many times. I'm like, if you're winning the Dusty Classic, which I think is a huge thing, I like the way they normally have that build up. That's always something special. But it just wasn't great. Like I expected better out of the finals, out of the Dusty Classic. Because if you think back to all the finals for all the men's stuff,
and
they're always barn burner.
And normally, were the first women to win the women's Dusty Cup because it was the first year and that it was made. And I was happy that they won. Me, honestly, I thought since it was going to be the first one, they were going to go get one of like the legendary women from NXT past to come win it just because it was the first one. But I was glad it was the current roster who got it on the silver lining. And we're still trying to figure out what MSK stands for. The winners of the men, they just bursted on the scenes, won, and we'll see how far they go.
They'll get rocket strapped. If you come in and basically win the Dusty, they're going to get rocket strapped
about that. Let's
to the top.
Another L7C called it right. More specifically, Jacob Mason. This man has been saying for months the breakup was coming. The breakup happened. after Finn Balor beat Dunne and he got attacked and Undisputed Era came out, Kyle O'Reilly was talking to Finn saying, "You're a great champion, this, picked him up." I thought the sign was about to show end of the pay-per-view, then super kick to Finn Balor by Adam Cole, and then to Kyle O'Reilly. He walks off. And I forgot, what was the other Undisputed Era member? Was
Roderick Strong just standing there going, what the hell just happened?
Jacob, I'm going to give you your flowers and let you go. You have been calling this for months, so go ahead, man.
Yeah, so turns out I was right. Damn it, it's about time. You know, I got to say they did swerve my ass. I didn't see it happening that night. I would have never guessed that. I think they kind of missed the mark with the whole. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor had 2 title matches, if I remember correctly. I think they should have done it during one of those where Adam came out and just screwed him. But I mean, I mean, hell, even this, like, this is something small that me and my wife noticed watching the match. When they all came out there, I was like, oh, they all got like new Undisputed Era merch. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So why would they get new merch and then like just attempt to like kick out the second biggest person in Undisputed Era? And I'm just like, oh shit. Like, okay, well, this is happening. Like, it was, I love it. I mean, there's no one else for Undisputed Era to face but Undisputed Era.
I agree, man. And like you said, you've been calling for it, and they really swerved everyone because no one expected it to happen that night. And it happened, and it happened this Sunday. Now you're just thinking about Wednesday. Like, someone's got to answer for this. Because is it Adam saying he wants that belt back, or he's sick and tired of Kyle playing frenemy with Finn and becoming best buds, or jealousy? Like, this is wild stuff. And Adam going back to being heel, and then your guy, Pat, who was just like, trying to tell you guys, man.
Pat called it. Pat said he was a scumbag from the get-go. Oh, Adam Cole is an old scumbag. So, I mean, I was happy to see Pat still talking shit, even when he's not on the product anymore for I have no idea what reason. But God, I love it. And for those who do not know, like, just get ready for what very well could be some of the absolute best matches in NXT history. Because Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole can just beat the shit out of each other. If you haven't looked them up before, I mean, look up Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and Ring of Honor. They're they just beat the hell out of each other, and they're phenomenal matches. So put them on a big main stage on NXT. Yep, you're going to see they're going to be match of the night whenever they face off.
Crazy matches, and you still obviously have Finn, who you've also said to book that him and not Dexter, I'm sorry, I have to think about Dexter Lumis because he abducted Austin Theory, which was actually cool because he did it with the swiftness. But of Karrion Kross going at it, him and Finn at WrestleMania, and when I was talking about Finn and blowing about him, about how this is the Finn, if he was in WWE, he'd be the champion right now. I think we can definitively say that Finn Balor is the greatest NXT superstar of all time. I think there was a lot of back and forth in my brain, like when I was comparing like people's first runs. I'm sorry for the people who have seen current Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn was literally like their John Cena, and like he was on top of the world, and I was thinking of him. Obviously, heel Kevin Owens, who prize fighter version Kevin Owens. Obviously, Asuka. Like, there's been some great NXT people, Samoa Nakamura, but after this second run, I think it's a closed case. Finn Balor is the greatest NXT superstar of all time. Until some of them other people come back and prove me wrong, I think it's not even up for debate anymore.
Yeah, if you're going to put a Mount Rushmore and you're going to put like singles men, singles women, tag team, you have to put Finn Balor in that singles men category. He's a first ballot for NXT greatness, hands down. I gotta say, this coming Wednesday, I am so excited for NXT just because there's a lot of things that are going to be happening like very, very quickly, and it's all going to be impactful because, like you said, someone's got to answer for this. So, we're going to have Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. They're going to be talking smack to each other. Something else that's very important. I want to see what the hell Roderick Strong has to say, because you have to give him a mic at some point, because I imagine he's probably like, I was just standing there and things just happened. Or because he's got to now officially make his stand. Who does he fall with? Does he fall with Adam Cole? Does he fall with
Adam just because they
Kyle O'Reilly?
Tag matches out of that before you have a big one-on-one blow up, and it's weird too because this is middle of February.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania's coming up in April, so it's like, is Adam and Kyle, is there going to be a takeover in March or something so they can have a one-on-one match, or are they going to hold that till like that WrestleMania weekend? Which, remember that weekend this year, WrestleMania is 2 parts. It's Saturday, Sunday. So. It's
parts, and they have not announced if there's going to be an NXT pay-per-view or not. Because right now the big rumor is the NXT title going to get defended at Mania, which brings me to another part of this Wednesday. Karrion Kross is facing what's his name? The leader of Legado del Fantasma. What's his name, Martin?
My dude, Drake Maverick, if I'm thinking who I'm thinking about. Oh, what the hell is his name?
Wasn't it Escobar something? Okay. So they're having a match. And side note, for those who also do not know, look up their match that they had in AAA down in Mexico. They can beat the shit out of each other and have a great match. So that match is going to happen. I got to imagine Karrion Kross is going to go over because, let's face it, we now have to build up the NXT Championship match. Who's going to face Finn at Mania or the NXT Mania pay-per-view, whatever they're doing? I've said this in the past, and I'll stick to my guns. Karrion Kross is going to face Balor at Mania.
I think
that's my take.
Cool to finally see the NXT title defended at WrestleMania. Especially, I mean, we said this last year. If you're really going to make this an official third brand, you got to have them on these big cards if they're not having their own takeovers. So I think it'll happen. I honestly do think if that happens too, I think Karrion will win. Just if prediction right there, just Finn will do the job.
Yep.
Now, if we're talking WrestleMania and Demon Finn comes in, then we're going to talk a different story. But yeah, that vengeance made me super excited for NXT tomorrow.
Well, see, that's why another reason I think you're going to see Karrion versus Finn, and I agree. I think Karrion is going over, and I said this months and months and months ago on a podcast. I initially wanted to see Karrion and Finn face it like this pay-per-view that just happened, and have Karrion go over and then have Finn come out and be like, "Oh, you beat me, but you didn't beat the Demon," and oh god, the internet will explode. So they can continue that just after Mania. There's your storyline for months of, yeah, you beat me, but you never beat the Demon. And then, oh shit. I mean, I'd mark out. And even with the I'd pop. I'd jump up and cheer. It'd be great.
Vengeance. I think that would have been a perfect one for Karrion to win because he's extracting vengeance on the he never lost the title, so he wants to get it back. So I really think this would have been the perfect opportunity and the perfect pay-per-view with the name to do that. So now going into WrestleMania, if this happens, I mean, it's going to happen. They're going to cross paths. So we're going to have to see. Also, does Scarlett wrestle?
Scarlett can wrestle, but she's in that. What was the name? The one who got fired for third party. Selena Vega. All right, so she's in she's basically in the same shoes as Selena Vega. Where yes, Selena Vega could wrestle, but she was more of a mouthpiece. Yes, Scarlett can wrestle. She's more of a mouthpiece. Because I don't know if she was in Impact, her and Karrion. I forget if she was the Knockouts champion or not.
Waiting for that.
But she can wrestle.
When I see couples on there, I'm always just thinking about when's the couple going to hold all the belts. I always feel like Johnny and Candice should be the ones to do it first, but Candice keeps getting screwed out of that title. But we'll see. But Let's switch back to everyone's love-hate relationship show, Monday Night Raw. And one of the biggest things that's happened on Raw recently is the now legendary Nia's whole line. Nia was wrestling Lana, my best friend, in a tables match. And it was right before Lana pushed her into a table. Nia just, this is why they need fans back. But she just said it so loud. She was like, oh, my hole. And that became the soundbite of all soundbites. And I know they initially had to block it on the original airing of Raw. And then you go on Twitter and all that stuff and you hear it and you're just like, oh my God, did she just yell it? The way she yelled it too. And she got put through. And long story short, she was getting promotion deals. Like Tushy was trying to get her to sign on my whole line. She was trending and everything. And I know you've said this a lot with Nia, and even starting to make fun of like her injuring people. She knows what she's doing to drum up this attention.
Yeah, Nia's smart, and let's face it, she has the smartest cousin who's the greatest promoter of all time.
First heard the my whole line.
Oh, I was laughing. I was away for work. I was watching Raw in my hotel room, and I heard that, and I was just busting up. And like, I'm like, this is just. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be all over the place. I'm like, I'm not sure if she did this on purpose. I think she did. I think this was pre-planned in her mind, whether she told the people in the back or not. But I think she knew, like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to then go my hole and let the internet run with it. And the internet did. And Nia's more popular for it because even bad publicity is good publicity.
On Raw Talk last night, our group had a donut hole and everyone's just making fun of it. And the way she just said it and she was screaming, I was just like, you said that she had it, like, she was telling him she was going to do that, which could be true, obviously, in the wrestling world, but half of me is just like, oh my God, is that? I was like, are you letting your personal life skew into the work life? Because, man, that sounded a little like, ooh, oh boy.
I would figure, and another reason I think she did this on purpose is because she said this in a very PG way. And I think if you were that hurt, you would go, my asshole. But instead she goes, oh, my hole. Boom. It's a soundbite. It's PG. It's great. Boom. Send it. Let the internet run with it.
She would have. Those porno companies would have started calling Nia Jackson. That is something, think about.
Something else I thought about, and I just want to throw it out there now because I want to get in my hot take for the day. And you disagreed with me when I texted you this. I initially said Lana's going to take going to take a title by SummerSlam. I think Lana and Naomi are going to win at Mania against Nia and Shayna. And I think they're going to have it for a week and then insert your new Dusty Classic winners to take it away from them. But I think that's going to happen. I just want to get that out there now. That way you heard it here first on the L7C.
Elimination Chamber.
Well, they don't have a match on it.
I don't think.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They don't have a match for the titles on.
Originally, I don't know if it's at Mania or at Elimination Chamber. If they're going to wait,
I think they're going to do it at Mania. I think it's just going to be one of those things where, hey, Lana, we've put you through the ringer. And it just kind of makes sense to me, thinking that they've put Lana through tables for months. Lana's just been, this terrible human being that both in the ring and outside of the ring, everybody hates her guts. And I think they're just kind of building this up to try and build up this sympathy. That way, when she goes over, it's going to seem like that much more, even though I don't think too many people are really going to care. But that's my prediction. I think they're going to do it at Mania. Right. I think it'll be like a pre-show.
Be good for her.
Even too.
I'm getting screwed all over. But we'll see. Another one of your hot takes, which now is dead as of yesterday, was Lacey was going to get the title from Asuka. so that she could face Charlotte at WrestleMania for the title, and we know how that was going to turn out. And Lacey, who, if you haven't been watching the shows, there's a storyline with Ric Flair now. Weird stuff. Twitter, even Charlotte to call her stepmom. Lacey said that Charlotte couldn't touch her on Monday because she is pregnant. And we're all just like, really? Are we doing the Lacey Evans pregnancy? But then we come to find out that she is legit pregnant with her second child with her husband. So this causes things for WWE because now Asuka doesn't have an opponent for Elimination Chamber, and your plans went awry. Well, obviously, congratulations to Lacey Evans for being pregnant. And Jacob, what do you think about this?
All right, yeah. So my initial hot take, which I think was just a text between me and Neil, was, my thought was Lacey is going to beat Asuka in a very shittily way with interference from Ric Flair, gets the title. Boom, Charlotte now officially has her opponent at WrestleMania because Charlotte has to have her opponent at WrestleMania. When this happened, a couple things, went through my mind of, well, there goes my hot take, like you said. And I think Lacey,
No.
I can't imagine this was probably on purpose, considering she was being shown all the time on weekly television. So I can't imagine. I mean, eventually, they're going to figure out a way that this is either going to be one of these things where they're going to do like a really stupid cover up and end the storyline very quickly, or they're just going to end the storyline and be like, hey, this never happened, guys, type deal. And Lacey's going to go, end up, have her kid and all that, and that'll be great. But I can't imagine WWE is happy with her, and I don't think we're ever going to see a Lacey Evans push
Ric Flair
again.
Thing, they're going to continue this. I don't know how, because now there's no physical thing that Charlotte can do to Lacey because she is pregnant, but they're going to still try and troll her and all of that. And I wanted to bring up this other point that, like you said, you don't know if it was planned or whatnot, but this isn't the first time this has happened just in the past year and a half. Becky Lynch was the hottest person in wrestling, and she got pregnant right in the middle of her hot streak. I don't know if was it Jim Cornette who said it? Like, how dumb do you have to be to get pregnant during your push and everyone back? And Jim,
yeah,
he's nice.
Jim Cornette said
watching his videos when he tears people to shreds because it's funny, but there's kind of some truth there. Like, it's I don't call it dumb, but it's just like, man, like you're at the height of your career, and then something like that happens. Which, more power to you. It's a blessing and all of that. But for me, the wrestling fan, that just means to me that Charlotte's about to get the belt because she ain't getting pregnant. She's coming to work every day. Oh yeah, but this accelerates the process.
Well, Charlotte was going to get the belt regardless. I still think Charlotte's going to take the belt at Mania. Watch, she'll take it from Asuka again because Asuka can't lose that title to anyone else but Charlotte. But here's another question. I know, I asked you this, but do we know for 100% that she is pregnant? Because I'm seeing it on all the rumor boards and all that. But is that, or is this just a giant
all those people
play?
I don't know if I've seen what her husband looks like. I don't know if he has social media, because if he said congrats, then because we're having a baby, then I would fully believe it.
But at the same time, you can work social media to make something bigger. If you look at the Becky and Ronda Rousey thing, they use social media to promote everything.
Because I knew the Cena Rock hate was real at 28, but I'll never know if Becky and Ronda's hate was real at 35. But you're right. But I'm taking is the fact that everyone, all the people that we read and stuff, is saying that it's legit. And you're right, man. WWE does not like when their storylines get interrupted mid-storyline for things they do not expect. Yeah, because you're right. She was gonna win the belt,
especially for WrestleMania.
Her second biggest push, her first biggest push was one of the people fighting for Becky's titles at the beginning of last year, and now she's gonna have the baby, and then she'll be out for a couple months. Who knows when she'll be back? And you lose all the heat on her because you can't just rekindle this. Like, oh, like you said, she's gonna come back after the baby, and we're like, oh, did you have Ric Flair's baby? What are you talking about? The storyline's over, so it's not Ric Flair's baby because they think we're idiots and can't connect things. Now, every time you come back, you have to be Ric Flair's baby, or unless they do a typical WWE angles like, oh, Rick, I'm sorry, the baby wasn't yours, it's someone else's. Like, this is Maury.
Oh yeah, they could do a whole like cheating thing.
Yeah, it's
where Rick, you are not the father. Injuries, they could do a whole thing like that.
People getting caught by TMZ, and those things ruin WWE storylines. I don't know, but on the hindsight, I mean, congratulations to Lacey Evans. If this is real, if it's a shoot, everyone's telling it is for the potential birth of your second child.
And for some reason, if it's not real, congratulations, because you played everybody really well.
Part of her and trying to be a good guy for 2 seconds against Sasha and Bayley, and I was like, yeah, Lacey cannot play a good guy at all. But more onto Raw. Royal Rumble, Bad Bunny. I think you were actually one of the people in that meme where you're like, who the hell is this guy? And he performed that Royal Rumble, and his song is called Booker T, which just shows to show how wrestling can really hit anyone in pop culture. Like, out of all the people who I like Booker T a lot, you made a song called Booker T. Like, not John Cena, not The Rock, Booker T. So that was cool. And he's been there, and he's been with Damian Priest, and the meme that I shared with Jacob is like this guy at the computer saying, who the hell is Bad Bunny? And then minutes later, WWE merch is exploding because people are buying Bad Bunny stuff, which, Jacob, to me, I don't know if that's more Bad Bunny's fans or WWE really needs to, we talk about this a lot, they need to build some more stars. They can't let them come in and outsell them like 3-1.
It's wild. Hey, this is absolutely wild. So I did some research. Bad Bunny's he's massive. Like in the Spanish music genre, which this might be a shocker to a lot of the L7C fans out there. I'm not a big listener of the Spanish genre of music. But he's massive. And then I didn't realize it in that Cardi B song, I Like It Like That, or whatever that song is. He's in that song, and he actually talks about,
you remember too,
Eddie Guerrero, and he says like Viva La Raza and all that stuff in that song.
Cardi B and Lacey Evans were going back and forth on Twitter. I thought that was going to be the match.
Oh God, yeah, I've kind of forgot about that too.
Yeah, and they're going to beat The Miz and John Morrison.
Nah, we got Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, buddy.
We already know that's happening. Like, it's wild, man. Like, that he's really coming in as outselling these people. And it's funny, too, that and he's been practicing apparently at the Performance Center, but this little guy, no wrestling and all that stuff, he's been on Raw every week since the Rumble. He's already been on more Raws than Goldberg was when he was #1 contender. Yeah, and Bad Bunny coming in every week.
It's freaking part-timers, man. What the hell? Yeah, damn. I mean, WWE is smart. Hey, we're going to bring in this guy. I mean, they knew they were going to have so many fans go, what the hell's a Bad Bunny? But then you're going to have such a massive group of, fans, from all around the world go, holy shit, Bad Bunny just, jumped off the top rope. Of course they caught him because you have to catch people who jump off the top rope onto the ground or whatnot. You have to do that. But, I mean, it is gonna damn. Really I mean, they're smart. They got so many more eyes on your product now.
Now, with that title, I'm actually a fan of Celebrities having for a little bit because he's also going to Saturday Night Live. And if he has that title, if he's walking around Saturday Night Live with that title, that's exposure. shoot, you can have R-Truth come to Saturday Night Live and pin him. That's going to get eyeballs.
Yeah, and we haven't had a champion, have this mainstream appeal and taken the title to red carpets and whatnot since The Rock, like you said a few podcasts ago.
Have that much respect for the business and what that freaking belt means. It just brings eyeballs. Also with eyeballs too, I don't know if she took the belt, but Sasha Banks was like one of the top, the ceremony MC, whatever, for Daytona 500 this past weekend. Yeah, I mean, she's one of the best in the world, and that's on Fox. So Fox is like,
I didn't even know that.
Banks are going there. So yep, and her boss tracksuit. But yeah, man, Bad Bunny. It's funny because now I'm not gonna watch Saturday Night Live, but I'm gonna be scrolling on social media, seeing if he has the title, seeing if something happens. Because if something does happen, all of our wrestling sites are gonna explode.
Oh, it'll be all over social media. Whatever it will be, it'll be all over YouTube. Yeah, I mean,
this is exactly what
WWE is going to promote it. Everything's you're going to see everything.
Stuff, take it to the red carpet everywhere, promote it, and then do the job when it's time. But also, besides Saturday Night Live, Elimination Chamber snuck up on us. It's this Sunday, and I don't want to go really in deep with it. They're having the 2 chamber matches. You see the difference between Drew and Roman. Drew actually has to defend his title in the chamber. Roman, on the SmackDown side, gets to defend his title against the winner from their chamber match. So their winner is going to be battered up, bruised, and Drew's going to be fighting for his life in that chamber. I don't see any title changes happening between those two. I think those two are going into Mania as the champs. What do you?
Yes. I agree. They're not losing it. Not a chance. I think the person who has the biggest chance of losing it is Bobby Lashley losing his American title, and that's if they actually end up defending. If they end up having a United States title match on this pay-per-view, because they didn't on the last one.
I think it's time. I think Edge is spearing his opponent, whoever he's picking. I think it's time.
Well, you think? Do you really think Walter's going to be at the Elimination Chamber?
Showed up to NXT UK. That would have been wild. But I think he's spearing one of them. Unless I don't see him obviously challenging Finn, but because that would be the greatest thing on earth if they made the NXT title the main event of WrestleMania. I'd cry. No. But that ain't happening. So he's spearing Roman or Drew. And then whoever he doesn't spear, we're going to have to really sit down and brainstorm who's going to be that person's number one contender. Roman versus... He's
spearing Roman.
It doesn't stand a chance.
And it's going to be Roman versus Edge.
So the fairy tale's going to end like that? That's rough.
Yeah, I know. But it's Roman. It's... Well, if you think about it, it's going to be... Well, hey, whoever wins this is going to be the main event of WrestleMania. No. Do you see anyone besides Roman Reigns main eventing WrestleMania?
Shows up like a Ronda or Becky Lynch, but not when it's Roman's yard. You're right. It's going to be them, and Fox is obviously turning into the A show. So it's going to be Roman and Edge, which I'm not looking forward to because that fairy tale, it's over before we even get to April.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They'll have some build up, and I'm sure it'll be good because Edge on a mic with Paul Heyman behind Roman will just be great. But yeah, you can't look at that match and go like, oh yeah, Edge is going over.
And Edge,
no, quote unquote, Mark is going to look at it that way.
That I don't know if it was personal to Miz to get like a fire underneath him or what. When Edge said, "Miz, you want to be champion? I need to be champion." I was like, oh, oof. I don't know if that was a shot to Miz or to Mike. Like, you need to step it up so you can actually be champion again. Because even though the Miz does have a main event WrestleMania under his belt, he was only there so that Rock could rock bottom Cena and get that feud going for next year. It was a filler main event. With that, and just
sure
a quick
was.
thing, Queen, Charlotte, Alexa Bliss going to be guest starring in a Peacock show. We're already seeing the Peacock deal get into fruition with WWE because now they're going to have their stars guest starring on shows. So that's just a quick note.
Actually, something else I want to bring up here.
he's going to screw Orton.
The Fiend is apparently going to end up showing up at some point. Well, yeah. I mean, listen, when you got Alexa Bliss doing a satanic ritual in the middle of Raw to say the Fiend's coming back, sign me up. Let's go.
I mean,
I was pretty stoked about that. That was super edgy for a Monday Night Raw. I mean, seeing a pentagram on Monday Night Raw, like,
I'm
okay,
still holding out
all right,
for my dream,
and not even trying to hide it either.
And the Fiend holding the titles and running the show.
Oh, I think it's going to happen, but I think we're going to see. I think you're going to have old Randall versus the Fiend at Mania at this point. Because the Fiend Revenge Tour never stops.
Hell, there's going to be with Drew McIntyre. Because if it's not the Fiend, which I think it should, but obviously he has to take out Randy.
That's a great question.
Randy killed him, literally. And if it's not Randy, who Randy Orton, as Stone Cold says, doing the best work of his life right now, who is it on Raw? Does it have to be AJ? Does it have to, I will be. We talk about when we were all talking about Goldberg and Drew and how we were like, dude, Goldberg might actually win. I will be so mad if Drew McIntyre's match is against Sheamus. I'm sorry. Because that match will not even be a 9 p.m. match. That match might be on by 8:50.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
Who?
You know who we could have do it, but he's not on the right brand. Could we get Cesaro versus freaking Drew somehow? Cesaro just cut a hell of a promo on Talking Smack the other day. I mean, he's freaking hot right now. I mean, you could do that and people would pay attention.
They want to make it happen. They can make it happen saying Cesaro's coming on this brand. He's getting traded because he wants one more shot, blah, blah, blah. Or he could do something like where he's already in the Elimination Chamber match for SmackDown, I believe. He takes out a Raw member and takes their pod and win, or like comes in second place. But he's a good one, man. But he's on SmackDown, and Edge is going after Roman. Because Roman versus Cesaro could have done some things.
Because, I mean, honestly, would you rather see, hypothetically, Roman versus Edge or Roman versus Cesaro at Mania, if you had to pick between the two? I'm going to go with Edge because I don't want to see Cesaro get...
At least Edge, you have that
just
2% chance
buried again.
He could actually win. Cesaro, there's no shot. Now, Cesaro would have won the Royal Rumble and he would have been ascending in this because whenever Cesaro wins that, if Cesaro wins that main title, it's going to be Kofi Mania level because I never thought Kofi was going to do it. He did, and I was so happy. Cesaro does it. Oh man, because they missed the opportunity with Cesaro where he had that 5-star match on Raw for the U.S. title with John Cena during the Open Challenge. They should have scrapped him then. It's I don't know, man.
Oh God, yeah,
that's a good idea because right now Raw, if you take out Bray and Randy Orton, and I don't think they're going to do AJ Styles again. I don't know who wrestles Drew. Well, he did take himself.
Or does Miz cash in before Drew makes it to Mania?
So, I mean, if he cashes in and he
Money in the Elimination Chamber match.
I mean, he could cash in now. He's going to lose it to Drew again at Mania, which is fine. But that's a good thing. I always forgot about the briefcase. I always did. To be honest, that's to save Edge from losing to Roman. They might do it there. I mean, remember, if history repeats, that's how they saved the Roman WrestleMania 31 with the Heist of the Century. So I don't know, man. There's some things, but we'll have to wait and see. But anything else, Jacob, before we end and we do some shout outs? Jacob, you have the floor, man. You got any shout outs?
No, that'll do it for me. I think we're covered. Yeah, shout out to all the listeners, keeping us going strong. And shout out to you, Martin, because you're the one who organizes all this stuff. I'm just a lazy guy who just gets on every 2 weeks. You actually do this as a full-time job. And shout out to my wife for helping me take notes once again. So appreciate that, Hannah.
No, man. I mean, this is fun stuff, and having
she's on the other room.
Stuff, and it's, I mean, it's obviously stuff I care about as well, especially wrestling. I mean, shout out to you, man. Like you you gave your nickname, which I actually agree, Mr. Consistent. You're consistently given an hour or so talking about every wrestling promotion on planet Earth, which I don't think any podcast does. So you're the one doing it right now, and the fans appreciate it. And shout out to your wife, Hannah, for helping with your note. Hopefully, sooner or later, we got to get her on.
Oh, yeah. We can do it anytime.
On being
anytime. She's down.
But with that being said, thank you, everyone, for listening to the L7C podcast. You know, wrestling episodes are every 2 weeks. So me and Jacob will be back in 2 weeks talking about, the NXT that's happening. We'll see if the Chamber produces anything. We're both not expecting much. We're going to see if the Forbidden Door keeps getting destroyed. And if Ring of Honor, tell us what you're doing, please. Are you showing up to AEW? You're showing up to Impact? Let us know in these 2 weeks so we can talk about it, please. And with that being said, thank you, everyone, for listening to the L7C podcast. You guys take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.